Joe Rogan, a figure often at the center of cultural and political discourse, recently engaged in a scathing critique of Whoopi Goldberg and The View. The event has stirred intense discussion among media consumers and critics alike, highlighting the divide between traditional television commentary and the growing influence of independent platforms like Rogan's. This clash, though not unprecedented, underscores the tensions between legacy media and the modern podcasting era, where voices like Rogan's hold immense sway over public opinion. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Rogan's criticism of Goldberg and The View appeared calculated yet organic, delivered in his signature conversational tone that has resonated with millions. He drew attention to what he perceived as inconsistencies and hypocrisy within the show's format, pointing to its tendency to frame discussions in an overly simplistic or partisan manner. For Rogan, The View represents a relic of a media landscape that struggles to adapt to an increasingly fragmented and skeptical audience. His remarks zeroed in on moments where Goldberg and her co-hosts seemed out of touch with the complexities of modern societal debates, painting the show as more concerned with sensationalism than substance. At the heart of Rogan's takedown was his frustration with the mainstream media's lack of accountability. He highlighted how shows like The View wield significant influence over their audience, but often fail to foster genuine open dialogue. Instead, they rely on rehearsed talking points and inflammatory rhetoric to drive engagement, which Rogan argued perpetuates division. His critique wasn't solely directed at Goldberg, but extended to the broader ecosystem of daytime talk shows, which he described as emblematic of a bygone era. In his view, these programs are designed more for entertainment than for facilitating meaningful conversations about the pressing issues of our time. This confrontation also reflects a broader cultural battle between different types of media consumption. Traditional television shows like The View rely on a specific format, a panel of hosts offering quick takes on hot-button issues, often with little time for nuance or depth. Rogan's podcast, on the other hand, is built on long-form, in-depth conversations with a diverse range of guests. The contrast between the two approaches highlights a shift in how audiences seek and process information. While The View caters to an older demographic accustomed to quick sound bites, Rogan's platform appeals to those who prefer exploratory discussions that delve into the complexities of an issue. Rogan's critique also touched on a theme central to his brand: the importance of free and open dialogue. He argued that platforms like The View often stifle dissenting opinions under the guise of fostering progressive ideals. By framing certain viewpoints as unacceptable or beyond the pale, Rogan suggested, shows like The View alienate large swaths of the population who feel misrepresented or unheard. His remarks struck a chord with those who believe that mainstream media outlets have become echo chambers, more interested in reinforcing existing narratives than challenging their own assumptions. One of the most striking aspects of Rogan's critique was his ability to connect with an audience that feels disillusioned with traditional media. This is a recurring theme in Rogan's commentary, as he often positions himself as a voice for the everyday person, unfiltered by corporate interests or political agendas. In calling out Goldberg and her co-hosts, Rogan tapped into a sentiment shared by many, that the mainstream media often feels disconnected from the realities and concerns of ordinary people. This approach has cemented Rogan's reputation as a cultural disruptor, someone unafraid to challenge the status quo. Rogan's comments also sparked discussions about the role of humor and satire in shaping public discourse. He often employs humor to make his points, contrasting sharply with the more earnest tone of The View. This difference in tone and delivery is significant, as it highlights how humor can be a powerful tool for critiquing entrenched systems. While The View aims to present itself as a serious platform for discussing current events, Rogan's more irreverent approach resonates with those who feel alienated by traditional formats. His use of humor allows him to broach controversial topics without alienating his audience, a skill that has made his podcast one of the most popular in the world. Another layer to this confrontation lies in the broader implications for media credibility. Rogan's critique of Goldberg and The View raises questions about the trustworthiness of mainstream media outlets, particularly in an era where misinformation and bias are hotly contested issues. By calling out perceived inconsistencies and double standards, Rogan forces his audience to scrutinize the media they consume. This, in turn, fuels a broader cultural movement that challenges traditional gatekeepers of information and empowers individuals to seek alternative sources. The timing of Rogan's critique is also noteworthy. In a period marked by heightened political polarization and social unrest, the media's role in shaping public opinion has never been more critical. Rogan's comments tap into a widespread frustration with how the media handles contentious issues, often framing debates in a way that exacerbates divisions rather than bridging them. His critique of The View serves as a microcosm of this larger dynamic, illustrating how media outlets can both reflect and perpetuate societal tensions. In dismantling The View, Rogan also highlighted the challenges faced by legacy media in retaining relevance. As audiences increasingly turn to podcasts, YouTube channels, and other digital platforms, traditional shows like The View struggle to maintain their influence. Rogan's critique underscores the need for these outlets to adapt to changing audience expectations, particularly the demand for authenticity and unfiltered dialogue. His comments serve as a wake-up call, urging mainstream media to evolve or risk becoming obsolete. One of the most compelling aspects of this event is the way it encapsulates the evolving media landscape. Rogan's podcast represents a democratization of information, where anyone with a microphone and internet connection can challenge established narratives. This shift has profound implications for how we understand and engage with the world around us. By critiquing The View, Rogan not only exposes the limitations of traditional media, but also champions a new era of media consumption, one that prioritizes depth, diversity of thought, and genuine conversation. The clash between Rogan and Goldberg also invites reflection on the broader cultural divides that shape our society. The View often caters to a specific ideological perspective, while Rogan's podcast embraces a more eclectic mix of views. This difference reflects a larger tension between tribalism and open-mindedness, a theme that runs through much of Rogan's commentary. By challenging Goldberg and her co-hosts, Rogan positions himself as a proponent of intellectual curiosity and critical thinking, values that resonate with a growing segment of the population. It's worth noting that Rogan's critique extends beyond The View and Goldberg, touching on broader issues of media ethics and responsibility. He often questions the motivations behind media coverage, urging his audience to think critically about the information they consume. In critiquing The View, Rogan reinforces his broader message about the importance of questioning authority and seeking diverse perspectives. This message has particular resonance in an era where trust in traditional institutions is at an all-time low. Rogan's takedown also serves as a reminder of the power dynamics within the media landscape. While shows like The View have the backing of major networks and corporate sponsors, independent creators like Rogan operate outside these traditional structures. This independence allows him to speak freely and challenge powerful institutions without fear of reprisal. His critique of Goldberg and her co-hosts highlights the growing influence of independent media, which has emerged as a formidable counterbalance to the mainstream narrative. The implications of this event extend far beyond the immediate controversy. Rogan's critique of The View serves as a catalyst for ongoing discussions about the role of media in shaping public opinion and the need for greater transparency and accountability. It also underscores the importance of fostering open dialogue and embracing diverse perspectives, particularly in a time of widespread polarization. By challenging Goldberg and her co-hosts, Rogan invites his audience to think critically about the media they consume and to seek out alternative sources of information. In many ways, this confrontation symbolizes a larger cultural shift. As audiences increasingly reject the one-size-fits-all approach of traditional media, independent creators like Rogan are carving out a new space for authentic, unfiltered discourse. This shift has the potential to transform not only how we consume information, but also how we engage with one another as a society. Rogan's critique of The View is just one example of this larger trend, illustrating the growing demand for media that prioritizes depth, nuance, and genuine conversation over sensationalism and sound bites. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Joe Rogan's take on Whoopi Goldberg and The View? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.